Morning to all the listeners and viewers, wherever you are. We're about to start a press conference for Vincymas 2026. But before I get into the meat of the matter, we just ask Ms. Juanita Phillips-Cato to come and bless us with a word of prayer.
Good morning, all. Can you please stand for the word? Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for this day and for the opportunity to gather as we prepare for the launch, for Vincymas 2026. We are grateful for your continued guidance and protection and blessings upon our nation and its people. Lord, we ask your wisdom and favor upon the Carnival Development Corporation, its board management, staff members, volunteers, sponsors, stakeholders, artists, and performers, as we all endeavor to contribute to making this festival a successful one. God, as we proceed, may you grant us the strength and creativity and good judgment as we all work together to deliver a celebration that reflects St. Vincent and the Grenadines. These things we ask in your precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Juanita, for that wonderful word of prayer. Once again, good morning to all listeners and viewers, wherever you are. Good morning to all the persons present here. Special welcome to the members of the media who are gathered here to take the news of Vincymas to the rest of the world. We had a press conference of a difference in 2026 as we embark on the launch of Vincymas. Our initial media conference was held on board a catamaran as we try to bring to life the concept of the Great Escape. Following that media conference, a number of activities were held for Vincymas, and this morning we're bringing you up to date. Members of the CDC fraternity will be bringing you up to date on a lot of the things that transpired and other things that are in the making for Vincymas 2026. Without further ado, I'll call on a representative from the Electrical Inspectorate who will speak on some matters of safety and requirements for events for Vincymas 2026. Mr. Lonzel Jones.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for CDC for inviting us to be a part of this press conference. Something new, something strange, and something fresh. The Electrical Inspectorate stands as the regulatory body of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as it relates to electrical safety. And I know persons would be asking, what does that have to do with Carnival? Over the years, we have recognized that installations, events, parties have been growing at a very huge rate. And by virtue of that, we started a process of organizing to see what the safety looks like at these installations, what you would know as events or activities. And we recognize that over the years, for the past 3 years during our visits, they were alarming. So what we have instituted over the past 3 years, this year being the first year where we are going full on, now being aided by the police force, an inspection certificate is now required to be able to host any event along with the permission of the police and the other factors as the other parties. Why, you may ask? An electrical installation you may see at a home is a static installation. So at any time something goes wrong, somebody can go and come and fix it. But that installation, as it is static, you would recognize that it is done over a period of time. So there are processes, and you'll be able to see things and fix them. Unfortunately, an event takes place, the setup normally takes place overnight, virtually. And what we understand, and we want you to understand, is that being that it is done under pressure, a lot of things can be missed. During the event, a lot of things can be added, which would be unsafe. The electrical inspectorate basically wants to come to tell you guys that we are not here to be the party poopers. We're just here to make sure that the populace of St. Vincent continues to be safe. One of our issues is that persons keep asking, but nothing has happened over the years, so why you guys just pop in now? And that's exactly what we're trying to prevent something from happening. We have seen installations, and you'd forgive me from using the technical jargon, but these are installations of a temporary nature. These installations, we would have seen installations where there would have been exposed cables in water. We would have seen persons using compromised equipment. And of course, nothing happened. So nobody got shocked, so it never became an issue. But in the effort to protect the Vincentian populace, we want to make sure that persons do things correctly. And when you do things correctly, you protect the populace. How this process goes is that the event promoters would come into the inspectorate. We're located between 𝑓𝑙𝑜 and 𝑑𝑔𝑡 and the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure and Public and Physical Planning. And you would apply for a notification of intent. You would use a notification of intent form. And that form, we would give you a temporary a pass so that you can get your permit from the police. What happens there, that form would tell us exactly what you're intending to do, how many lights, if you're using generators, whatever you're doing on the site. You will also be required to use, if you don't have a certified electrician, get on to one to ensure that any extra things that are done will be done correctly. And that person will be responsible for the event. So after you've made the inspectorate, after you've made the notification form, that form gives us all of the information that you require. That form goes to get your permit. And what happens after that is that when you are setting up, a team of inspectors would come along to confirm what is going on, confirm it's safe, and then you would continue. During the event, a team of inspectors will also come to do live monitoring, because we would have recognized that over the years, the show might have started with one thing, and then somebody get hot, and they decide to pull a fan from across the road, and then a piece of cable on the ground pass across, and somebody trips over, something disconnects, or somebody falls, right? So after you get the notification, you get your permission from the police, we come to make sure that whatever you say is going to be there is there and it's safe. The inspectors will come and have a live monitoring, and then if there are defects, you'll be asked to fix those defects. And after that, you get your certification to move forward. As I said before, we're not here as the party poopers. We want to make sure that people are safe while you're enjoying Carnival.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
When we are selling Vincymas overseas, we are often selling Vincymas as one of the safest carnivals in the region. And a number of security companies in St. Vincent and the Grenadines do provide services to different events and so forth. And we are quite happy that we have a safe carnival in St. Vincent. But above all, the service provided by the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force over the years they have been really supportive to CDC and the Vincymas brand, and there's a close working relationship between the CDC and the police. So to bring you up to date with what's happening relative to the matter of safety and security, we have Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Trevor Buju-Bailey, who will be giving you some words of advice. Yeah, man, good.
Yeah, good morning, all. Good morning to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. My name, as said, is Trevor Bailey, and I'm the Deputy Commissioner of Police acting. So I want to say thank you to CDC for inviting the police to be a part of the press conference for 2026. Now, as advertised, Vincymas is indeed the safest carnival in the region. And they say 2026 is going to be no exceptions. Now, I know that in the back of some people's mind, they are wondering how safe is Vincymas 2026 is going to be. And I say to you, if you've been monitoring what's been happening in the rural carnivals, you would have noticed that there was a significant increase in terms of the presence of the police, numbers on the ground. And last weekend, there were two huge rural carnivals, one in Georgetown and the other in 𝘰𝑗𝑡. And none of those events had a shortage of police. We ensured that there were more than enough security personnel on the ground. And that is an indication that come 2026, for the national carnival, there's going to be no shortage of police presence in and around Kingston. We know that for the 10-day period, people are going to come to Kingston, they're going to consume the alcohol, they're going to enjoy all of the shows, they're going to patronize the bars, and we want people to come and do that. You will be doing so in an environment that is safe and secure. I want to give the nation the assurance that at every corner, at every junction, when you traverse Kingston, you will interface with police officers who are dressed in the uniform of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. So the environment to party, the environment to revel will be safe. The officers, we have had our internal briefing, the officers have been told that they ought to be a bit tolerant with regards to some behavior, and I want to be clear on that. Now, we know when there's a mixture of alcohol, music, people tend to sometimes go a bit overboard, and the language may change. So it is not unusual to hear an expletive coming from someone who you may not normally get it from them, and that is because there's a mixture of alcohol and they've been partying. So the officers are asked to be flexible when it comes to arresting for indecent language and so forth. You can have a conversation, you can speak to that person, even though that they be so intoxicated that they can't have a conversation, but at least you can tap them and say, well, behave yourself. And you had enough, time for you to go home. So we're gonna be a bit flexible there. But it is not a license for you to come to Kingston and drink and misbehave and figure that because I say we're gonna be flexible, you come and mash up the place. We will not allow that behavior to get too excessive. Now, the no glass bottle policy, I want to bring it to the fore at this time. That you will be asked, the vendors around Kingston will be asked to pour their drinks into plastic cups. We do not want people to be selling in any glass bottle. In fact, the minister will make a declaration, I'm sure, before Carnival, to declare the Kingston area and all of the areas where shows will be taking place a no glass bottle zone. So it is an offense to traverse the streets walking with your Guinness and your beer in the bottle like that. We don't want to have to arrest anyone for that violation. It is a violation, but all we simply ask is that you pour your drink into a plastic glass and enjoy your drink. Again, we have asked the officers to enforce the no glass bottle policy, but with common sense, in that we don't want to see an officer meet somebody with a Guinness and he just go and pull the Guinness away and open it and pour it on the ground. We don't want to see that. We have advised our officers to ask the person to pour the drink, and if they don't have a glass, finish it right there and take the bottle away from them. So we want to avoid the confrontation, but we appeal to the patrons to comply with the instructions and to ensure that we have a safe carnival as we advertise. Patrons who are entering the Victoria Park will notice a mobile station will be placed on the outside, and those licensed firearm holders who have their firearm, you will not be allowed to enter Victoria Park to patronize any of the shows with your firearm with you. So you go to the mobile booth, officers will be there, you lodge your firearm, you'll sign the book, they will take custody of your firearm. Whenever you're ready to leave, you go back to the booth, you'll sign out, you collect back your weapon. Make sure that you collect the same weapon that you hand over. Make sure that you collect the same weapon that you hand over. Verify your serial numbers, get your weapon, and you go home, and you'll be safe. So there will be no, the only persons who should be carrying firearm in the park for the event are the police officers. So as he, leave yours at the booth. I want to give you 10 reasons why we're going to have a safe carnival. I know we have the issues with, sometimes these numbers I don't really like to call them, but there are two numbers that have been popping up lately, a 6 and a 7. I know of one. I want to replace the 6 and the 7 with one. Number one, Royal St. Vincent Police Force. That is the only number that we carry. One. So if you have any bad intention, keep your intention to yourself. If you bring it to Kingston, you will come head on with number one. And we will flex our muscles. And I'm saying it boldly, we will flex our muscles as hard as we can if you bring any 6 and 7 violence, if you attempt to bring it into Kingston, because we're dead serious when it comes to that. Now, the Minister of National Security is asking for a peaceful carnival. The Commissioner of Police is asking for a peaceful carnival. CDC is asking for a peaceful carnival. The Ministry of Health is asking for a peaceful carnival. The vendors are asking for a peaceful carnival. The promoters are asking for a peaceful carnival. The school children are asking for a peaceful carnival. The taxi association is asking for a peaceful carnival. The merchants are asking for a peaceful carnival because they want the goods to sell. Now, if I give you 10, there's an old saying, 10 to 1 is, and I live in it right here. I am not saying the other word. I am not saying any other word. I'm just saying 10 to 1 is. So there are 10 of us against you alone. So don't bring no 6 and 7 violence into our carnival. We're going to stamp that out. We want everybody to have a peaceful carnival. CDC knows that they have a very senior partner in the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force. We've been working together well over the years. This year is no exception. We're going to give the full support and ensure that Vincymas is a successful one come 2026. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Bailey, for those words, of course. I know you have sent a message there loud and clear, and we appreciate that. Following the departure of Mr. Dennis Ambrose as chairman of the CDC, he was replaced with Mr. Ricardo Adams, who served on the previous board and continued as the chairman of the CDC with this current board. And I must say that he has been doing a wonderful job in the past since he was retained as the chairman of the CDC. So we now bring Mr. Ricardo Adams, chairman of CDC, to give you some words and bring you up to date on a number of matters related to Vincymas 2026.
Good morning, all. Let me begin by recognizing the presence of the Minister of Youth, Sports, Culture, and the Creative Industries, Honorable 𝑐𝘰𝑚𝑒𝑟, the CEO and staff of the Carnival Development Corporation, Deputy Commissioner Bailey, our #1 partner. So that's how we refer to our friends in the security services now, our #1 partner. Members of the media, stakeholders, sponsors, partners, carnival enthusiasts, and everyone from St. Vincent and the Grenadines and across the globe who are listening to us this morning. I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us for what will be the final planned press conference for the commencement of Vincymas 2026, our 10-day festival, which this year we dubbed the Great Escape. The purpose of today's briefing is straightforward. it is to provide the public with a comprehensive operational update on the state of readiness for Vincymas 2026 and to outline the key activities ahead, ensuring that all our stakeholders are informed as to what we have planned, where we are with the planning, and what our activities are going to be like as the festival officially begins its 10-day period. Of course, you know, Vincymas was launched some time ago, and Vincymas goes through the rural carnival segment where we showcase our culture at the rural levels as we build the energy and the excitement towards the culmination of our festival. Of course, we know we had the reintroduction of the Miss SVG this year, and that happened a little earlier. And we've had some of the competitions ongoing, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But really, this is to give you an operational update as to where we are on the Vincymas program. I'm going to spend a few minutes to go through the calendar of events, the remaining calendar of events, just to ensure that everyone is up to date. I think we put out our calendar of events relatively early this year. We put out our dates for Vincymas. We've been making it a policy now that by the time you leave in 1 year, you will know the dates for the following year. So we've done that, and we have some exciting news going forward. But I'll just focus a little bit on where we are on our calendar of events going forward. So we just finished Bacchanal Bay on Sunday gone, Sunday the 14th. On Sunday the 21st, we begin our AIA activation. And that's something that we're really excited about. In the last year, we started doing a full activation at the Argyle International Airport, where we use cultural performances, we use merchandising, and we use our people to welcome visitors to Vincymas. So the experience of Vincymas starts at the Argyle International Airport. And we're going to continue that this year. We're going to have some additional support from the Argyle International Airport operating entity. And we've got some sponsors who are coming on board. So we're really looking forward to increasing the hype of the welcoming activation this year. And when you're leaving, we're also going to have an activation called Promise to Come Back. Sorry, Promise to Come Back, where we're basically going to invite you to come back next year, right? One of the things that we'll be doing is we'll also be collecting some data at doing some surveys and collecting some data so we can better understand what you liked, what you didn't like, what you would like to see more of, what you would like to see less of, and tailor our offering to what our people really want to enjoy. The next thing that we have on the calendar is we have another activation on Wednesday the 24th, and then Friday the 26th, we have the Fantastic Friday. This year, we return to Fantastic Friday being the Calypso semifinals, and we had a really good 10th season. There was keen competition up in the tents. For those of you who didn't manage to make it, you missed out on a lot of excitement. We have some very young people in the competition. We had 𝑗 those of you who remember him from way back in the day, basically killing the whale on stage. I don't know how many, when Othniel was the greatest whaler man, and he was performing. So we had some teenagers competing against, I think 𝑗 said he's 86? Yeah. So we had some teenagers competing against people who were 86 years old. And so that bodes well for the art form as we spread it across, because we've got to compete, we've got to continue to invest in the youth while the veterans guide them and coach them. On the Saturday, the 27th, we have our Junior Carnival. Sunday, the 28th, our Junior Panorama. And Tuesday, the 30th, our Junior Calypso and Soca. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn the Victoria Park into a mini Coney Island for those 4 days of the span, so that at any point in time, even if you're not particularly into pan or into calypso or into soca, you can still come to the Victoria Park and enjoy with your family an experience that will make you have the warmth of the Vincymas. All right, so on Wednesday, the 1st of July to the 8th of July, we're going to have our Flavors of Vincymas Food Village. And that is going to be located at the E.T. Joshua Tarmac. And at that Flavors of Vincymas Food Village, we're going to have local food, craft, top DJs, and live cultural entertainment. And this is going to be a free for patrons with secured, controlled, and safe access. And on each night in the final week, we're going to have spotlights on different artists or camps of artists or cultural collectives who will come and showcase their talent at the Flavors of Vincymas. So that's another exciting innovation this year. On Thursday the 2nd, we have our Steel and Glitter competition, which we all know is sections from the bands and the senior panorama. On Friday the 3rd, we have Evo, A Night in the Clouds, our all-white event that really showcases the evolution of the music of Vincymas over the past 40, 45, 47, 49 years. So it's always something that's exciting where we bring the veterans on stage showcasing where we have come from in Vincymas all the way to where we are, and with some of the youths, where we're going. On Saturday the 4th, we have the Big Bad Soca Monarch, and we released the results for that yesterday. And there's a lot of excitement and buzz about the Big Bad Soca Monarch. This year we decided, based on the number of entries that we had 179 entries for preliminary judging at the Soca Monarch level. And I'm speaking of both Raga and Power Soca. We cut it down to 44 in the semifinals. We've brought it down to 12 and 13 in the finals. And there's still so much good music out there and people with an appetite that we introduced something yesterday called the wild card, where the general public can pick any artist that they want to see on the show. I just got a little bit of stats. We introduced that round about 11 o'clock yesterday. We've had 3,700 votes so far. So people are really buying into the concept of my being able as a youngster to pick who I really want to see on stage, apart from those who the judges have also selected. So we're not taking anybody out. All the persons who went through the judging and got selected, they're all in. We're just adding that option of the wild card. All right? So, and that is getting a lot of traction, particularly with the youth. On Sunday the 5th, 𝑑𝘪𝑠, that is, again, our kings and queens of the bands and our Calypso finalists. Monday the 6th, we have J'ouvert and the Monday Jam. We've had a number of bands coming back in this year. I know CEO is going to want me to make special mention of the Monkey Band, which was exciting last year. And I can tell you I played. I don't know what happened to my pants. I think I had to throw it away afterwards. But it was a really innovative and exciting opportunity. 𝐷𝘠𝑒𝑘𝑒𝑙 is one of our champions of the reintroduction of what has been a lost traditional part of the Vincy culture, the monkey band and the boozy back. I'm sure many of you remember running from the monkey band and the boozy back on Back Street when they were coming up. Many of you slightly older ones, because we have some young people here who never saw it before, perhaps last year. All right, so it was a traditional part of our Juve celebrations and our carnival celebrations. So there's a strong effort to reintroduce, because we've got to keep reconnecting with the culture. Sadly, some people think that the way, and this is not in St. Vincent alone, this is something that is happening regionally. Sadly, a lot of people think that the way carnival should be going is that we should reduce it to a festival of fêtes. And the people who have the biggest and the most fêtes are the ones who going to be enjoying the carnival. But we have to remember, not everybody can afford $300 and $400 a night to go into an all-inclusive event. And if we don't base it on some cultural aspect, then we will be competing merely on a festival and music, on a fete and music aspect of it. So we have to keep tying back our culture, because I make the point, the creation of carnival happens in the Southern Caribbean. The creation of carnival, and we have to think about it carefully. The majority of people who playing pan and who tuning pans and arranging pans are from the Southern Caribbean or descendants of people from the Southern Caribbean. The majority of the mass bands that are being done in all of the markets that are consumers of carnival, the craft and the designs and so are being done by people from the Southern Caribbean or descendants of people from the Southern Caribbean. The music that is out there, the soca music, if you look at it carefully, is generated in the Southern Caribbean. And if we don't protect that aspect of our culture, we will then become consumers of music, of creativity, of pan that is created elsewhere, and we just become consumers who pay to enjoy it. So as we think of Vincymas as a celebration of our creativity and our creative industries, I think it is important that we recognize we have to support the cultural aspect of it. Speaking of the creativity and the cultural industries, we've had a very robust discussion on the introduction of AI into our creative space. And we recognize that there is a place for AI. And I'm not going to say that AI, we should ignore it and we should completely eliminate it. But AI cannot become your creative juice. AI can help you refine your creation, but it cannot become your creative juice. And we've seen the introduction of even some of our songs this year that, from all research, we know are created by AI. And the CDC is working actively on a policy that we've already begun discussing with the artists that limits the amount of AI and how you can use AI in your music. Otherwise, again, we'll all be jumping up to metadata created music with no input of the passion and the energy and the culture of what is Vincymas. On Tuesday, of course, we have our grand finale, which is Mardi Gras, which is when we take the spectacle of mass to the streets. And of course, that is when everybody comes into Kingstown to ensure that they're part of that last lap celebration where Vincymas is concerned. And then, as I say, on Sunday the 12th, we have the closing activation at AIA, which is your promise to return. Street mass? the street bars. Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so CEO asked me to mention about the street bars. So last year we returned to the 24-hour operation of the street bars, and in consultation with with our #1 partner this year, we're again allowing the 24-hour operation of street bars. Of course, when we say 24 hours, we normally close on Sunday morning to allow for the people to go to church and to worship. So we don't want to disturb that. But other than that, and sometimes those in the areas close to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, we also limit the hours on the Saturday. But other than that, we will be able to go. For those of you who think you have the stamina, you'll be able to go around the clock at the street bars in Kingstown. I want to express our sincere gratitude to the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for its continued support of Vincymas. I know the minister will come up here and say quite a bit in terms of his vision and his excitement about what is happening. But really, they've come on board this year again and fully supported what the vision of Vincymas is. We all know that every year we go to them and say, if you give us $10 million, we can do it twice as nice. And if you give us $20 million, we can do it 4 times as nice. But we operate in the constraints of the reality of what is happening. But so far, we really appreciate the support that we've been getting from the minister and from the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Again, I'm going to put out the appeal. Let us do an economic analysis on the impact of Vincymas on the national economy, because while it is our cultural expression, it is a creative industry, which means that we have to do some business analysis where that is concerned, right? I want to say thank you very much again to our sponsors, and I have a whole list of sponsors here, and I'm pretty sure that if I spend half an hour going through sponsors, I'm going to miss one, and nobody would remember the other 40 that I called. So what I'm going to do is, again, say thank you very much to all of our sponsors, those who are already on board and those who we're still meeting with and having discussions. But I really have to single out the National Lotteries Authority, who we don't consider to be a traditional sponsor. We consider the National Lotteries Authority to be a partner of Vincymas. And again, they've been giving us the support this year. We've had some robust discussions in terms of how we look at the partnership, but they continue to support us, and we're very grateful for that. Finally, I want to make a special appeal to everyone participating in Vincymas. This is not a CDC thing. This is not a Calypsonian thing. This is not a soca man thing. This is not a mass thing. This is a St. Vincent and the Grenadines thing. And so I want to say, let us all come together. Let us all own Vincymas. We call it the Great Escape because when people come here, we want to embrace them as a nation. And so I really want to say, come together. Let us focus on Vincymas 2026. Next year, we're going to be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the change of Vincymas to a June-July festival, or Carnival to a June-July festival, which we sometimes coin as the birth of Vincymas, and we're calling it the Road to 50. We're going to start our promotions for that very shortly, but the best way to promote that is to ensure that when people come here this year, we give them a safe festival. We let them experience the warmth and the energy that is St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Vincymas, and that they leave here fully understanding why we always say Vincymas remains the hottest carnival in the Caribbean. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Ricardo Adams. Earlier on, I mentioned Mr. Ricardo Adams staying on as the chairman of CDC, but we have a new minister of Culture, and he's the Minister of Sports, Culture and the Creative Industries, and he has been very hands-on with the CDC thus far, playing a practical role, sitting at the table at many board meetings, so he's quite au fait with exactly what's taking place with the Carnival Development Corporation and the Vincymas brand. Let me welcome the Minister of Sports, Culture and Creative Industries, Mr. 𝐶𝘰𝑝𝘺𝑟𝘅𝑔𝘠𝑡, to give you some remarks.
Thank you for the warm welcome and greeting, 𝘰𝑠𝑦. It's my really honor to be here this morning. First of all, let me acknowledge the Chair of the Carnival Development Corporation, Mr. Ricardo Adams, Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Trevor Bailey, CEO, Mr. Rodney Small, other members of the staff of the CDC, members of the media, other invited guests, a pleasant morning. Well, as 𝘰𝑠𝑦 said, this is my first time being here as the cultural minister, and it is quite a real honor. And we even spoke about my ability to be hands-on. And that comes from my practical experience from my sporting background too. We all know the importance of being integral and being intimate with everything we do. And as the Minister of Culture, it was important for me to, first of all, build a relationship with the board, because the board has to execute the mandate of the government. And first of all, before I go into my address this morning, let me commend the CEO and the entire board for the hard work in which they have done thus far. I know persons, the public may recognize the end product, but obviously there's a way in which to get to, before you get to that and execute that product. And the hard work behind the scenes, many of us may not see it. And even this morning, the board was actually working overtime too. So that shows the level of commitment and dedication from the board, and I just really want to commend them for their hard work. As we all know, Vincymas is our most attractive festival. We heard earlier about the importance of safety, and I must commend the Deputy Commissioner and his team. Well, our Deputy Prime Minister too deserves a lot of commendations for the manner in which this police has maintained their presence thus far. I know the rural carnivals could be a little bit intense, if to put it simply, and we have not heard any issues or any reports of any infractions, any acts of violence, and that is solely down to the presence of the police, and you must be commended for that too. And as we all know, the Carnival, as I said, is our main festival, and it's important that not just our general public, but also our visitors feel safe when they come to our shows, and that would ensure that they return as well. And this bodes well for our product, which is Vincymas. Now, Vincymas is a celebration of our cultural identity, and it's important that we maintain that high level of cultural identity in which we had over the years. This is our 49th year, and sometimes when you're on 49 as a cricketer, you tend to think a little bit far ahead. You just need another single to get to 50. But the current focus this year and the team the Great Escape. It's basically for persons to relieve whatever stress that they may feel at the current time. And we all know our cultural activities are an opportunity for us to express ourselves, doing what we feel. Our musicians have the opportunity to showcase their talent, the artisans, the cultural practitioners, the creatives. Everybody they have an opportunity to really showcase and express their talent on the local stage, and also you could advance out to the regional and even international stage now. And in order for us to have a successful carnival, as the chair would have mentioned a short while ago, we need the support of everybody. We need the support, the fulsome support of each and every one. We know the challenges and the divisions in which we have as a nation, and Vincymas gives us the opportunity to come together as one people, one nation, one culture, one identity. And I am imploring, I am beseeching, basically, for us to come together as our cultural ambassador would have said in his song, we are one Vincy. And the deputy commissioner would have also mentioned that too. We are one people. And it's important that we recognize that we may have our basic differences, whether it may be politically or otherwise. But this is an opportunity for us to really come together, solidify ourselves as a nation. And as we all know, we have one of the best carnivals in the Caribbean. But in order to maintain that high level of standard, we need the support of the general public. Not just the artists, the musicians, they are there, the musicians, the artisans, all the cultural practitioners, they are there honing their craft. But as a public, we need to ensure that we support them. Not just by going to the shows, but speaking kindly of the artists. In life, just a slight bit of encouragement could create a significant difference and a significant impact on someone. And it's important that we recognize and value our artists. Sometimes it's not easy going on stage and performing to a high level. And it's important that we really encourage our artists. As a politician, I know the challenges that, as we face, but I just want to commend the CCC again. We face some unique challenges financially. And the manner in which the board, the CEO, they have executed their task, I must really commend them for that. Really executing the events to a high standard with extremely limited resources. We know the importance of value of money. Money could create a major impact. But when you utilize your resources in the most efficient way, that must be commended. And as a government, we're facing some difficult economic times as a nation. And Carnival Vincymas gives us an opportunity to ensure that we add to the growing nature of our economy. Now, Vincymas has the potential to offer significant financial impetus to our economy. And this is not so just by our own here, but also the visitors in which we attract into our shows. We know the Vincymas attracts a lot of tourists. So we expect our tourism sector to boom during this festive period. The chair would have mentioned the economic impact of Carnival. And this is an assessment that we really need to implement. And once we recognize the financial impact in which Carnival has on the growth and development and sustainability of our economy, we have data that we could make informed decisions. So going forward, it is my hope and my hope that we really focus on the data, because data is driven, and it gives us the opportunity to make informed decisions as to where we invest our limited resources. So that is key for us as a government and for the CDC going forward. Now, I just want to encourage our young people, as the Minister of Youth as well. Carnival gives our youths, we have junior panorama, we have junior, other junior events. This gives the creatives.
Dedication is required to pull off the Vincymas that we are accustomed to pull off with limited resources. Thanks to your commitment and dedication to the staff. Apart from our office staff and our administrative staff, we also have the work crew. Rupert and his team has been doing a great job relative to the infrastructure, construction, and so on that we normally have to undertake during the period of Vincymas. Thanks to all our sponsors, potential sponsors. We're still looking for sponsorship. If you're interested in the Vincymas brand overall, the entire carnival, or a particular event during Vincymas, feel free to reach out to us. We're still open for sponsorship. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in, and thank you all. Thank you.